Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, who have never visited this channel, that's okay. I'm Elizabeth. Hope you're doing well, and hopefully maybe at the end, you'll be inclined to subscribe. Thanks. For the rest of you who unfortunately do know who I am, hi, I've missed you. Today we're just doing 2 thrift flips. So if you're interested, stay tuned. That's it, I don't have anything else to say for this intro.
Let's get started with thrift flip number 1. If I remember correctly, this dress was only 53 cents, which was an amazing deal. It was just way too long and way too big on me, so I wanted to change it up to be a little bit more versatile. First, I marked where I wanted to cut, measuring from the bottom. For this dress, it was almost 2 feet. It was 23.5 inches, extremely precise, and I made sure to leave an extra inch for seam allowance. Next, unlike my college finance class, I was able to connect the dots. This is helpful so later on we can just cut down this line no problem. We won't be hemming this first. I just thought it would be helpful to get rid of most of this fabric before we move on. Since the dress was a bit baggy, I turned the dress inside out and pinned where I wanted the dress to slim down. Just to know, I would not do this if you don't have a zipper in the back of your dress to help you take it off, because if you're putting this thing over your head, you might accidentally stab yourself many times. As you can see here, I very scientifically and accurately mapped out where I was going to sew. This, for some odd reason, didn't turn out to be a complete disaster, despite the fact that it looked like Picasso himself was my tailor. Before I start sewing, I always like to take a piece of scrap fabric, so this would be the one that we just cut off from before, and just test out the type of tension and stitch length that you like. For me, this is not really an exact science. I just play with the tension and stitch length until it has that Goldilocks look and feel, not too loose and not too tight. And this is what it looks like after we tightened it up a bit. Using the seam ripper, I cut this 9-inch scandalous cut at the seam that would leave Angelina quaking. Unfortunately, I realized at this point that the dress was a little too sundressy and twirly for a slit dress, so I flipped the dress inside out and noted that I needed to take around 2 inches in from each side. I marked a little below my hip where I wanted the tapering to start, and I marked 2 inches from the original side seam. Then I drew a line connecting these 2 dots to mark where I was going to sew. After sewing, the dress looked a lot more snug and less twirly. I turned the dress inside out and started working on the slit again. I started cleaning up the little threads that were hanging off and sealed it off with this clear top coat that'll help the thread stay in place. After the paint has dried, roll over the hem twice and pin it in place. Before you sew, this is how your work should look. Note at the top, we're going to sew a horizontal line to stop the slit from extending further. When you reach the top of the slit, raise the presser foot, pivot your work, and continue sewing down the other side of the slit. Make sure that when you sew that horizontal line at the top, you sew over it twice to keep it secure. Back to our hem, we're going to go around the entire hem, fold it over twice, pin it, and then sew it. And lastly, make sure to iron over all your new seams to make sure it looks nice and clean. And we have our final product for thrift number 1. I'm so happy with how this turned out. You could take this bad boy anywhere. You could go to your living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, the bathroom. Those are the only places I would suggest going to right now. If you're feeling frisky, you can go to your local Walmart to buy some groceries. If you're going to a place that's fancier than Walmart like Whole Foods, make sure to shake it up with some heels. Since the hem and slit on this dress is a bit high for my preference, I do like to contrast it out with some thigh-high boots. And also, if you want a little bit more coverage, or if you just want to wear this again during the cooler months, you can just pop on a turtleneck or a sweater that can fit under the dress, and it really transforms the whole look. Next, for thrift flip number 2, I'm going to be showing you how to transform any old pair of pants that you have into a wonderful little art piece. For demonstration purposes, I will be creating this light bulb. If you do not like the design, that's okay. Just head on Pinterest, look up line art drawing or minimalistic line drawing, and a whole host of different kind of designs will pop up. Just pick your fave and let's get started. If you have one, grab your embroidery hoop and just smack it on. If you don't have one, no big deal. I did 2/3 of these designs without any embroidery hoop at all, and it's totally okay. But a quick note for everyone, if you do decide to embroider near the pocket, make sure that you pull that pocket out of the way so you don't kind of seal it shut. Now sketch away your design until you've convinced yourself, yeah, I guess that looks good enough. Next, grab your embroidery thread. This thread usually has 6 smaller strands in them. So I separate this into 3 strands and 3 strands, and then I unravel them for about a yard because that's pretty manageable to work with. After you threaded your needle, I like to start from the inside of the pants, come out to the front, and make 1 small stitch. Turn your work around, and this is what you should see. Make 2 small knots, and you're good to continue with the rest of your work. Turn your work back around, and we're going to get started with a back stitch. Have your needle come from back to front around a stitch length away. Then put your needle back to where the last stitch ended.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. You see her walking.
When you start to run out of thread, you're going to make 1 last small stitch, going from the inside of your pants to the outside, but don't pull all the way. Make sure to leave some slack. When you turn your work over, you should have your thread end in a small loop. I just tie these 2 together around 2 to 3 times. You can use this method as a way to tie off your entire project, but also just in this instance, you can just tie it off and then start again like nothing ever happened.
Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. Let me paint a picture.
And this is the completed look. I'm so happy with the way that it turned out. You can honestly use this technique on any old piece of clothing you have and completely transform it. And side note, I think my favorite part about these pants are these awesome faces that travel from back to front.
Slow it down like that. Just hold me down like that.
So that is on this video. I hope you had a fun time. If you did, press the like button, comment down below, and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye guys.